Spring is going to be here before we know it, and I cannot wait. Today I am bringing you easy ideas and DIYs using Dollar Tree items. We are creating gorgeous spring projects that I know you're going to love. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and let's get started. This project is a really fun one. If you want to keep this a Dollar Tree DIY, just pick up one of their galvanized tubs. I'm pairing it with some of these like lantern style solo lights, but I'm actually upgrading my tub or planter to one of these $6 large long planters from Dollar General. Now I find these on sale all the time. They're usually like buy one get one half off, so I always stock up for my videos or for personal crafts that I want to make at home. But this is a really fun idea if you want to dress up your curb appeal, make it look really cool. I've not seen this like at anybody's house yet, so I think it's a really fun idea, something that I wanted to make for my doorstep. So I took the long planter, added some styrofoam in, and then using 4 of these lanterns, I couldn't find all 4 black, so I had to mix in the silver, but I learned that I can pop the silver tops off so they still kind of coordinate with each other. I'm just popping some number stickers right on the front. This is easy peasy. If you wanted to make them a little bit more weatherproof, you could spray them with some clear coating or go over it with a layer of Mod Podge. My girls were driving me crazy saying, why does it say 1235? They thought that I got it wrong. In my head, I am doing the address 1235, so it just was funny, and now that I see it, I can't unsee it, so I just thought that was funny to share. But the next thing I have to do is cover up all of that styrofoam. You can drill holes in this if you think that it's going to get some water in there, or you can weight this down with some rocks if you live in like a very windy area. At the old house, I definitely would have filled this up with gravel just to make sure that it didn't blow away. But here I think I'm going to be able to get away with having a few more things on my porch. It's not as much of a windy area. So for this, after I got the moss down, I started covering it over with some greenery. These are Dollar Tree floral stems. I added a different style in there just for a little bit of variety. But I think this is the cutest thing. How cute to display your address. You could even cut out your road name and put it on the front if you wanted to, but a really cute project that looks really good at night. Today I am using these tall candle holders in several places in this video, or these hurricane lanterns, but I'm also pairing it with some of these little tulips. And I did pick these up at Target Dollar Spot, but spring at Dollar Tree is out and about, so you can find lots of different floral picks out at Dollar Tree. I also love checking Walmart, Hobby Lobby, but these just really caught my eye, and they have like a real feel to them. They were $1 each, but just look for any type of tulip that you could cut down the size of the jar. I wanted this one to be different. I'm actually putting the tulip down inside of the jar or the glass instead of it acting as a vase and the flower sticking above it. But I needed to dress it up just a tiny bit first. So I added in some white rocks from Dollar Tree, mixed some of the Dollar Tree Plus section epoxy, and if you can't find it at Dollar Tree, Walmart always has it, especially in like the Mod Podge brand. I really like using that brand, but you just mix 1 part hardener, 1 part resin. You mix it for like 3 to 5 minutes. Always make sure that you use proper safety gear, a mask and gloves and goggles or glasses, just to make sure that you're being super safe. I know epoxy is very like smelly and you need to be safe with it, but after I got it how I liked it, I just put a little bit at the bottom. I put in these tulips. I did 2 taller ones in the back and a shorter one in the front, and these are gorgeous. This would be perfect for a wedding or party display, but also just for spring, adds that perfect pop of color, and they just look so natural and cute. This is a really fun DIY. Dollar Tree has these really big jars, and if you remove the lid, they're just perfectly glass, like have wide mouths on them, and really pretty. So I found these little picks at Walmart. I just loved how they had greenery, dark flowers, light flowers, and just loved the combo look of this. And I feel like it was a really great deal. I'm pretty sure it was around $1. For this project, I am just sticking a little bit of hot glue down in the bottom and then gluing these flowers to the bottom. We are going to be filling these up and putting some floating candles right on top. So I want to make sure everything's nice and secure to the bottom. Make sure that you do use cold water because you don't want any hot water heating up your hot glue because all of your plants or flowers are going to float to the top. But to go ahead and secure everything down in there, fill these up with water. I added some LED floating candles. I actually found them at Walmart in the pool section. They were really cool. I won't have to worry about a real flame, but if you do enjoy the smell, to put off a good scent, you could use the real wax ones. Okay, so there's nothing like using a watering can in your decor to make it look like springtime. This is one of my favorite hacks ever. All you do is take a piece of paper, so something that you print out. I printed out this watering can. You could have easily traced this if you had something the similar shape. And then I'm scribbling on the back. Yes, you can use carbon paper, but this is super easy for me to do and I just love to do it. It's an easy hack. You don't have to have any special things on hand. And I'm just tracing it onto just a thin scrap piece of cardboard and then cutting this out. I try to take my time. I don't worry about getting it perfect. You can see that I even tried to trace the handle a little bit thicker than the paper was, just so it wouldn't be really flimsy, but I take a little utility knife to cut that out. I get the shape of the watering can, but this is my favorite hack, is to use wood filler to actually fill in the edges. I'll be doing that in just a second. This is the sign that I'm going to be applying it to. This is out of the Dollar Tree Plus section. It was around $5, but you could use any of the $1.25 pieces, even if it's an MDF sign, to get the same effect. I did want it to have a whitewash background, so I go ahead and apply the white paint, leaving a little bit of the natural raw wood showing behind it. I do just hit it with a piece of sandpaper, but after this dries, going ahead and starting on that watering can. So I love this wood filler that's in these little tubs. I picked this up at Walmart. It's called plastic wood, but it's just easy for me to dip my finger down in there and apply it to whatever I want instead of worrying about squeezing the tube. But a lot of times those get clogged up. And if this dries out, I just apply a little bit of water, pour a few drops of water in here and let it set and soak it back up, and it's good as new. So this is definitely my favorite. I'll try to link it down below for you guys. But I go ahead and just fill in the edges the best I can. And then I do like to rub a little bit on the front just for a little bit of texture and to smooth out those cardboard lines, because I don't want this to look like it's obvious cardboard, but this just works so perfect to get those great shapes without having to purchase wood or saws or being really good at using like a scroll saw or something. But you can get these fun little shapes, and they seem to last really great on decor like this, especially for this purpose. I'm going to be gluing it down on some tower blocks so it's raised up a little bit from the board so I can put some flowers down in here. I let this dry before applying it to it, and then I laid it down in the place that I wanted to attach it, and just putting these tower blocks down on both sides. I'm trying to leave an opening in the center so I can put this flower stems down in there. You can use any Dollar Tree flower that you want. I actually found these little tulips at Target, and they like have a real feel to them. They're really high quality and made well. They're $1 each, so I feel like that was a great price point if I wanted to just grab a few of them. But like I said, if you wanted to save a few dollars, you can go to Walmart. Walmart has incredible floral picks for usually around 98 cents. I love checking there first, but always check at Dollar Tree too. But I just love the realistic feel of these tulips, and they scream spring to me. I felt like the watering can was a little bit plain, so I am adding some of my favorite Dollar Tree rub-on transfers. And it really doesn't take a lot to add in those beautiful pops of spring colors. My favorite color is pink, so that's why I'm going with these pink tulips. I decided to fill it in just a little bit more and add them to the top, but this is exactly what I was going for, bringing in some of those fun spring and summer vibes. And this just reminds me of like gardening and doing all the fun things when the weather starts to warm up. And then these are too pretty not to create a fun floral bouquet with them just as they are. So for this one, I am using a heavy concrete planter just because I like to do that. use things higher end that I have on hand. And this wreath, I almost threw it in the yard sale for like $1, but I decided that I knew I could put this to good use without just throwing it out. So I decided to put it around this ceramic planter or this concrete planter, pop a piece of styrofoam inside, and then all I did was cut off the tags and put these solar flowers into the styrofoam. And it's a beautiful centerpiece that I put together with things that mostly I already had on hand. The flowers were just $1.25 each, and all of the wiring is in the top of the flower, so I was able to just trim them down easily with my miter shears and get them the size I wanted to. Kind of did the same thing as earlier and just made the front one a little bit shorter so they look more like a grouping, but I think it's a really fun centerpiece on an outdoor table, but also adds a fun splash of color at night. So I wanted to make another DIY for this that looked kind of high end but added a pop of color. So I went to Hobby Lobby, I found some fat quarters as well as a frame. You easily could go to Dollar Tree, find a fat quarter piece of fabric as well as a Dollar Tree frame, but once again not wanting all of this to be Dollar Tree DIYs because I have Dollar Tree frames all over my house. I wanted it to be a tad different. I fell in love with this fabric, this fat quarter from Hobby Lobby. It was $1.48, under $1.50. And I just loved the colors of it, the purples and the blues, but it looked like epoxy. So if you've been watching my channel, you know that I loved doing epoxy so much last year. I did it to everything or added it to everything, and it was just so fun to work with. So I thought it would be fun to make this for these shelves, but I also thought it would be fun to get some bigger frames the next time I go out and make like a set of these for my craft room. So I might share that in an upcoming video, we'll see, but I just loved it so much I wanted to create some bigger ones. Since this isn't a picture frame that I bought, this was a wall art piece from Hobby Lobby on clearance for $6. You have to kind of destroy it or take it all apart. It's not like an easy access frame that you can switch the photos out of. So I had to actually peel or cut the back off and then pull the frame or the mat away from the picture and then make the space for my fabric. So I ironed this fabric. I don't really have a clothing iron, so I use my Cricut heat press a lot, but I ironed the lines out. I recommend washing it if you can because the hard seams or hard lines want to come back very easily. But I tried to hot glue this down to the mat, pull it as tight as I could, replace the backing and glue it down in place. But I feel like this is such a nice high-end looking piece. Like I said, just reminds me of epoxy. I love the little gold foil look to it, but a really fun piece that I do want to make some huge pieces just like this to go on my craft room. Okay, so I have used Dollar Tree supplies to create terrariums for several years on my channel. I've made them out of clear bowls and clear vases, so you definitely can make this using a Dollar Tree container, but I'm just putting all the Dollar Tree supplies in this bigger container that come from at home. It was 50% off, so on the clearance rack, less than $10, and I feel like the gold just kind of fit more with my style, but you could use any container that you already have. Check the thrift store if you want some inexpensive glassware, because they always have huge pieces for $1.50 at my local thrift store. But I'm filling this in with some Dollar Tree rocks, some succulents. Some of these succulents come from Pop Shelf for just $1, so even cheaper than buying them at Dollar Tree. I added in some of these little wooden stems as well as some green moss, and I just love how this came together. I added one large succulent on top and looks like the perfect little terrarium that you could add fairy lights to. I'm actually going to be building a little plant stand or little display case for some of the most adorable little plants I found at Dollar Tree. Now, if you can't find these $1.25 MDF books that I'm going to be using as crates, then you can just use the normal crates. They're just a little bit smaller, and you can like face the outside decor onto the inside, so you're not going to be able to tell, and you can cover all sides with the book paper if you want to. But for these, I have these large MDF books that I took off all of the decor or the little beads and ribbon on the outside. Go ahead and glue 3 of them together. This is going to make the top piece. I go ahead and repeat this exact same step and then glue both sections together, so I have 6 pieces. It's going to be able to house 6 mini little plants and going to look really adorable. I go ahead and attach these 2 together and then give this a coat of black spray paint. After I got all of these attached, I really wanted to be able to trace a book, so I had a nice template. So luckily I had an extra one. I go ahead and just trace that on a piece of old book paper. If you didn't want to destroy any books, you can just print out like any kind of script paper, or Hobby Lobby has scrapbooking paper that looks like it's from books or a little script on it. Some of them look really fun. You could use any paper that you like here, but this is a really cool idea. I love the look of using just like text in the backing. Now I did kind of like watch what it said, but nobody is ever going to pay attention to what it says. But I go ahead and just attach these down with some glue sticks, make sure it's nice and secure in the back. If you want to, you could do a layer of Mod Podge. I'm going to leave it as is so it's not super shiny and you won't see any brush strokes. But these are my favorite little plants at Dollar Tree has out right now. They are in this gorgeous little concrete planter. I go ahead and just set them in there, putting the taller ones in the middle, and this is just the most fun way to display them. You could even trade these out for real succulents and just kind of have like a little indoor garden. So I know gifting jewelry or custom personalized jewelry for Mother's Day is super popular, so it's really fun if you were to give like a jewelry or a bracelet or necklace, a jewelry piece, you could make like a jewelry holder to go along with it. So Dollar Tree has these trays. They make them in small, medium, and large, so I looked for the largest tray that I could find, went ahead and give it a nice coat of white paint because I want to put some pressed flowers on here and I really want them to show up. So painted this, let it completely dry, added some Mod Podge and some of these gorgeous aqua colored flowers. So to actually make this a high quality like jewelry tray, I wanted to pour resin over these flowers. I did worry because these flowers were so saturated with color that I was worried it would turn my resin blue, but it actually turned out really clear and perfect. I added some more of that nail glitter in there because I had the same aqua color, mixed up some more epoxy or resin in the Mod Podge brand, and then poured it over the top of this. It was kind of cloudy because I had so many bubbles. You have to mix this for so long. It does get a lot of bubbles in it, but if you use your heat gun or a hair dryer on the low setting, you can go over the top of it and it just kind of pops all of the bubbles and brings the air out of it, so it has more of a crystal clear finish as well as not all of the bubbles. But just putting some jewelry on here, I think it's really cute. You could personalize this as much as you wanted to, but a really fun gift idea. One of my favorite, all-time favorite things to display in springtime is succulents, and I have a hard time keeping plants alive, so I love to opt for the Dollar Tree fake ones. This is a really fun project. I love to read, so I love like decorating with books. I know it's kind of a controversial topic. I always get bad comments if I use a book, but I always use like a book that I've already read that I know I'm never going to read again. I pick up one from the Goodwill, something that's going to be thrown out. I am not going to put like my favorite books, like hot glue them together, but I know some people it just kills them to use a book. So just, you don't have to do that. You can like have other options. You can use a wooden box if you wanted to, but I just love the idea of using a book for this, especially old books. This one is not an older book. It's just a book that I didn't really love and I didn't care to decorate with, but there's just something to me about decorating with books and just having them around my home. It makes it feel cozy, and I just love reading, so I like actual like book decoration setting around. For this, I wanted it to look really natural. I did put a wood block in the bottom and hot glue that down, and that's just going to hold this book open. I took some faux moss that I had just from the Dollar Tree and I glued that down. It did try to stain my hands really bad, so I kept having to wash them over and over when filming this video, but it stained them green, so I'm guessing it had some kind of weird thing on it, so you can opt for something else or try to wear gloves when you do this. But I got all that glued down, and then using some colorful succulents, I thought this made it even better, adding that pop of color in there. And then some of these little dangly ones, I glued them in the different areas and then filled it in with some small succulents. So I love picking up succulents at Dollar Tree, but also Walmart had like this little set of succulents, these tiny ones, and they work perfect on projects like this. So you're getting to fill in this space for a lot cheaper than paying the $1.25 for each plant. But how cute is this? I absolutely love it. Just a fun little reminder of reading, and seeing this just makes me so happy rather than just using a planter box. A new vase is one of my go-tos whenever I think about high-end decor. If I was decorating a space, a new space, I would want to start with like a taller, bigger piece. So it was really fun. I tried to play around with some Dollar Tree glassware to create some fun new vases and kind of mimic the ones I'm seeing online for the expensive prices. So I saw that Dollar Tree had these 2 different size little glass bubble vases. And I know that bubble vases are like super trendy. You can look them up. There's so many different styles. A lot of them had these fun handles on there. So I just cut down one of the wooden rings and attached that to either side, let it cool off, and then started to paint this. You have to let me know though, after I stuck this on there, I just kind of getting like a teddy bear vibe, especially after I painted it this brown color, but I still think it turned out really good. But I'll show you another option if you're like me and you feel like it kind of resembles a little bit of a teddy bear, and I'll show you a different way to do it. But I put on a thick coat of this London gray and then sprayed it over with some of my stone paint. And then I did a little bit more of the London gray color. It's really more of like a brown mocha color. And then put in some of the greenery. Now, since this is a smaller vase on top, I did have to kind of fold over the stems and tuck them in, but it does help them to stand up really nice and tall. And I just feel like it is really cute. So here's my attempt at the second one. Once again, attaching the vases the same way, just with hot glue. For this one, I am giving it the first coat with this silver gray chalk paint, and that's going to just kind of give it a base paint to cover all of the insides, and then dry brush over it with a darker elephant color chalk paint. And then back at it with the stone spray paint. I will use this forever. I just feel like it gives it so much texture and dimension. I just love it. And if you pick up something like handcrafted at the store, it always has those little speckles on it. It looks so great. So just let this dry and styled it with some more greenery, but also love this one.